What's up, everybody? Quick recap of UFC Charlotte. Can't believe it. Basically had a perfect night. The only fight that I got wrong was the first fight of the night, Jessica Rose Clark and Tainara Lisboa. It was even money. I just went with Jessica Clark. I don't know why, but I don't know if that should even count because women's fights are too unpredictable. But yeah, man, basically a perfect night. Got one fight wrong, if you want to count that. And yeah, can't believe it, man. And then, right off the bat, Brian Battle and Gabe Green. Brian Battle, a slight underdog. Didn't expect it to go like that. Gets a knockout. Gabe Green wanted to have a firefight with Brian Battle. Brian Battle's got some power at 170. So that was awesome. Kicked it off the right way. And then I bet on Mandy Bohm, plus 200 something at flyweight. Jeon Kim does not like winning MMA fights because she got deducted 2 points. And she was winning the fight handedly. So, yeah, man. Lower level women's flyweight, women's fights, you cannot predict them ever. And the craziest stuff happens. The most embarrassing stuff happens. If you're betting women's, you got to bet the underdog. So I did that, and it worked out for me, man. So, yeah. And then Cody Stamann and Douglas Silva de Andrade. Silva de Andrade, slight underdog, like plus 150 or something like that. And like I said, Cody's last fight, I just thought he was barely winning it. And Douglas Silva de Andrade, he got the better of those exchanges. They were just kind of throwing the pocket a little bit. Cody Stamann did a good job when he was landing some jabs, but Douglas Silva, he landed the bigger shots, the more impactful shots, makes it hard for the judges. And then in the third round, he survived. Cody Stamann definitely won that third round, no doubt about it. He dropped him and had Douglas hurt pretty bad, but Cody Stamann made a mistake. He dropped him and he went on top of him, was landing some good shots in a leverage position, and then he just laid on top of him in full guard. And Douglas Silva de Andrade was able to recover. And then he came back and landed a couple shots at the end of that round. So, yeah, close split decision, but that's what happens, man, in competitive bantamweight fights. So that's why I went with the underdog, man. And he got it done. And then the co-main event of the prelims, at heavyweight 265 pounds, Carl Williams and Chase Sherman. Carl Williams by decision. I just thought that's how it would work. Chase Sherman's pretty durable damage-wise. And Carl Williams, he's not a huge finisher. He wasn't able to finish his last guy. He tried, but he couldn't do it. So, and then he got it done. He's a pretty sizable favorite, like minus 300. But, yeah, there wasn't really any sweat to that fight. A little bit here and there, but first round, Chase was landing some counter hooks. He's able to stuff the first double leg attempt, utilizes that whizzer up, and then gets slammed against the cage. But then Carl's landing some overhands, and he's able to finally get the blast double into half guard, land some nice ground and pound. Then the second round, Carl landed a counter left hook off of his jab. And then Carl starts getting his jab going, really nice. And then Chase lands landed some right leg kicks in succession, but he's able to stuff the double leg. And then Carl switches off to a single, and he's able to stuff it. And it was more competitive than I thought it would be. Chase Sherman did a good job of stopping the takedowns. Then in the third round, Carl was landing some check left hooks and some jabs, and his double attempt gets stuffed, and he eats some elbows when he's on single on the fence. And then they both kind of slowed down. They both had a little bit of a gas issue. And then Carl was just landing some jabs and trying to regain his cardio. And, they weren't the hardest jabs in the world, but they were landing. He was just outworking Chase Sherman. And then Chase was pressing with some leg kicks, but then Carl circled away, and he lands more jabs, and he was looking for a left hook. Just kept staying busy, man. And he got it done. Unanimous decision. No sweat about it, really. And, Carl Williams has some stand-up, and it was good. That's a tough test for an up-and-coming heavyweight, I guess, unless you're a superstar. You got to beat Chase Sherman. Now he beat Chase Sherman convincingly, and, he's going to be a player, not like championship material, not top 15 material yet, but, he's a competent heavyweight in the UFC. So, and he's got, he needs to work on his wrestling. He's not a killer wrestler. He can get defended relatively easily, but he can keep working, developing his game. And, wrestling period in the heavyweight division is a tool that can be used. So, yeah, and excited to see where Carl goes next. There's some fun matchups for him. Maybe him and Waldo Cortez Acosta. I don't know. Then the main event of the prelims at welterweight, 170 pounds, Matt Brown taking on Court McGee. Again, this wasn't hard because there really isn't a choice to make there. Matt Brown plus 190, Court McGee minus 250 or something like that. Both coming off of losses. Both are older guys at the end of their career, except Court McGee is coming off of a vicious knockout his last fight, and Matt Brown has elbows from hell. He can put people into a coma with them. So I'm with Matt Brown, and he's the underdog. First round, Court was in some leg kick landed some leg kicks, and he went to the body lock, and then he's able to get around Matt's back. But then Matt did a decent job of defending. He was trying to keep that leg out, and then he just got to his feet, and he's able to break the lock. And then they don't really do too much on the feet. They're both kind of just feigning, trying to decide what they're going to throw. And then Matt just landed a step in right cross and gets the KO. First shot. Like, the real first shot he landed. Like, one of the first shots he landed. Nothing, didn't really set it up. Just step in right cross. So, yeah. And that's just, there's not a whole lot of, like, data breakdown with that. Just kind of like a feeling. Like, Court McGee got knocked out his last fight. Matt Brown was in a knockdown, drag him out war with Brian Barberino. He can still take a punch. I don't know if Court McGee can. Apparently, Court McGee can't take a punch, so he got it done, man. Great victory and a great line. And then, first fight on the main card at welterweight, 170 pounds, Tim Means and Alex Morono. The line was a little steep, too steep for my liking. Morono minus 200. I just had a feeling about him, and you know, I thought he fought Ponzinibbio very well. His last fight, he got caught. You know, it happens. Ponzinibbio knocks people out from time to time. And Tim Means, like, he had that very close fight with Max Griffin, but I just thought Alex Morono was going to be more precise with his shots. I thought he had the better technical stand-up. I definitely did not expect a knockout, but he got it done. And, you know, that's where I've been having trouble is to tell whether a big favorite's worth it or if I should bet the underdog, but just had this feeling about Morono watching the tape, and I thought he would be able to land more punches than Tim Means. And when they get in the striking battles, I thought he'd be able to land more effectively. And that's pretty much what happened. Alex landed some left hooks, but then he misses the hook, and then Tim got the body lock, but Morono was fighting it, didn't get taken down or anything, didn't take too much damage, but then Tim landed a head kick on the fence, but Alex can eat a shot every once in a while, and Alex was landing some crosses, and they both kind of landed a flurry against the fence, but then Tim landed an uppercut right down the round. He threw the uppercut before the bell rang, but it landed after the bell rang, so that's a tough one, but you know, Alex came back. He's tough. He's durable. Then the second round, Alex was landing some lead hooks, and then Tim was able to get that blast double. Couldn't do much with it, man. Alex got up right away. Alex has that dog in him, obviously. But then he misses the back fist, and I thought, you know, I was very upset. I thought, oh, man. But he did it on purpose because he pulled the guillotine. Tim goes right for that double leg, and then locks that guillotine up before it hits the mat. That's where a lot of guys they don't get it because he had it right away. Or no, Tim had that body lock. As soon as Tim got that body lock, he had the guillotine sunk in, and he just went for it and got it. And yeah, sorry, he did not get a knockout. What I think he was going to get a knockout, he got a submission. Yeah, I was thinking like knockout, club and sub type of deal. But no, he didn't have to hurt him either. He just pulled that submission, and he's slick, and he got it, man. So, yeah, Alex Morono, man, he's like one of them guys that's going to be around for a while. Like, probably won't get in the top 15, but you're trying to make your way to the top 15 or you want to put a fun fight on a card, Alex Morono's your guy. So, it was really good. And then, second fight on the main card at 205 pounds, Carlos Ulberg and Ihor Potieria. I'm with Carlos Ulberg. The line was horrendous, minus 400. But, you know, Ihor Potieria, he ate some shots against Mauricio Hua. And Mauricio Hua should not be fighting anymore. So, I thought, and Carlos Ulberg, he's on 3 knockouts in a row. 3 first-round knockouts, or two knockouts in a row. 3 wins in a row in the UFC. And Potieria just a little too wild for my liking. Yeah, if he clipped Carlos, he could get hurt. But, you know, I think Carlos has decent enough chin. And Carlos, he picks his shots, man. Doesn't throw a lot, but when he throws, he makes it count. You know, there's really not much to this fight. Carlos was landing some head kicks, kind of just circles on the back to the fence, skirts along the fence, stays outside. And then Carlos lands a check left hook because Ihor came rushing in with a lunging, looping overhand. And Carlos landed one shot right behind the ear and put him out. Dropped him, and then he got the TKO, but he was pretty much done with, man. So, yeah, very slick maneuver from him. And that was a tough bet for me to make because I didn't know if he was going to go decision or not. And looking back on it, it was a bad decision because, I don't know, I just didn't know how many first-round knockouts he could keep getting in a row. And the knockout was only mine 190, and it was still plus money. And then decision, I think, was plus 200 or something like that. So that's why I went with that one. I had decision instead, I believe. But, yeah, I was just feeling nervous laying minus money on it. And Ihor Potieria, he's not as skilled, but plus 330 is a big line. So, But we got it done, man. And next time, I'll know, man. Just kind of go with the flow of things, you know. Don't expect it's going to go longer, whatever. He keeps getting knockouts, bet the knockout prop. So, yeah. But good win for him. I think he's ready for a top 15 guy in 185. 185 is kind of moving around. Got some more people coming in there. And always desperate for contenders in that weight class. So, should be interesting. I mean, obviously, he's not going to fight Izzy anytime soon because it's his teammate. But, you know, Chris Curtis is fighting. I forget who he's fighting, but he's fighting soon. You got Andre Muniz, Nasruddin Imavov, you know, and then Anthony Hernandez is fighting next weekend. Anthony Hernandez and Shabazian are fighting, so maybe they can work something out there. But yeah, good win for him, man. Very close, very fast, and he's not really taking any damage. And then the feature fight of the night at welterweight, 170 pounds, Daniel Rodriguez and Ian Garry. I'm on with Ian Garry. I decided he'd be the more technical striker, the slicker guy. Momentum-wise, he's on the rise. Gradual build-up in opponents. In his last fight, he finally got it finished. He's been looking for, so I thought it was his time. Rodriguez didn't look good against Neil Magny. He gassed out in the third round. And just something, he's getting older. He's taking damage. I just thought it was Ian Garry's time. The line was a little wide, but, I thought it was okay. But I did not expect the first-round knockout by Ian Garry, man. That was wild. First round, Ian backs up, lands some jabs and head kicks, and he presses forward, and he lands the head kick at range. Then he drops him and just pounces on him and gets a TKO via ground and pound, man. Not much happened in that fight, dude. Just the constant pressure and the movement, and he just kept moving, man. And Rodriguez is kind of trying to look for a couple big shots or really dig into his punches. And Ian Garry's just trying to stick and move, man. And he was looking for the head kick. He threw a couple as a tester and got it done. So that's huge for him. He's in the top 15 now. He's eventually entered the welterweight rankings. And, he's a guy people need to look out for. He's on the rise. He said he wants to fight Neil Magny next. I think that's perfect. I want to see how he does against a high-level grappler, because when you get to the top of that division, there's a lot of high-level grapplers. So I think that's perfect, man. Neil Magny is a tough test for anybody, dude. If you can beat Neil Magny, you're the real deal, straight up. So, and then I'll take him to number 11, and it's not too much of a jump up, and I doubt they want to put him against Jack Della Maddalena. I don't think they're going to want to kill off two contenders like that. So, yeah, Neil Magny is the perfect fight. Neil Magny's older. He's not going to fight for the title, so, yeah, perfect fight for him. I'm excited. And then Rodriguez, man, he'd just kind of be a guy. Maybe he could fight Ponzinibbio or something like that. He'll just be hanging a little below the top 15, but there'll be fun fights. And if you got an up-and-coming prospect that needs some spotlight, you can put him against Daniel Rodriguez. Always a fun fight with him. On to the co-main event. I was really looking forward to this one. Big Anthony Smith fan. Got that one right. Picked Johnny Walker. It was even money, basically. I really thought Johnny Walker was going to get a first-round knockout, though. I liked the props on that one, and I thought it was realistic, but yeah, didn't happen, man. Johnny Walker decided he wanted to go to 3-round decision or whatever. He could have finished it multiple times, but yeah, that's how it goes, man. I just not really good at betting on props, but yeah, and Johnny Walker, he took some shots, so his chin's not as glass as everybody says it is. So yeah, but I thought the first round was awesome. Second and third round, not so much, but that's how it goes. It's 205. 205 is a circus. First round, Johnny was blasting those leg kicks to Anthony's right leg, kicks to Anthony's left leg. But then Anthony was landing a check left hook, and then whenever Johnny rushed with some overhands, clipped them too. But then Anthony was rushing with some overhands that he could drop with the check left and then check right hook, and then he kind of shoots in for the single. But then he eats a ton of elbows from Johnny Walker like he did against Ryan Spann. But then he shoots again, and then he gets... And then he's able to get on top into half guard, but doesn't really do a ton of damage. But at least he secured a takedown. But then Johnny was able to get back up with 10 seconds left to go, take him down with a body lock back trip. So competitive first round. I think give it to Johnny Walker because he did the damage. And then the second round, Johnny was landing some more leg kicks to the right leg of Anthony. And Anthony landed a few counter right crosses whenever he would step in. But then not a ton happened. They both kind of just backed away from each other, came in and backed up. And Anthony just kind of looked labored and tired, and he wasn't even attempting to check those leg kicks, and he didn't have any urgency, man. And that's kind of one of the things I thought about going into this fight. It's like, dude, he just broke his leg, or his ankle, or whatever, last fight. He's had a ton of injuries. He's had 50 fights. Not the oldest guy, 34 at 205 is not too old, but, I mean, he's been fighting forever. So they're just one of the things I didn't think he'd be durable enough for the fight, and you kind of showed in this fight, but he still stuck it out. Then the third round, Johnny really starts hurting him with some leg kicks. You could see him kind of wobble on them, and he's able to stuff the single leg again. And then he landed a short hook, and then he just kind of pushed Anthony down the front headlock position. Anthony was kind of rocked a little bit too, and then he had like his hands on his head as all fours, and he was just blasting him with some uppercuts, but didn't really take advantage of that situation. And I think Johnny should have let him stand up, made him stand up. I think he could have really wanted to. He could have pushed the pace on him, possibly got a knockout or something. But and then the last sequence of the fight, Johnny lands some straight shots. Anthony's up against the fence, and then he rocks him with the jump knee, but doesn't really go for the finish, or he waited too long. Like, he had 30 seconds there when Anthony was backed up against the fence. He could have really let it fly, but whatever, man. He needed the victory, and he already got knocked out. He already got his hype train derailed a while ago, so he just wants to get the victory. I get it. It was still fun. He's still dangerous. He still does damage, and he's coming off of 2 first-round finishes, so what are you going to do? And Anthony Smith is still Anthony Smith. He's not the most skilled guy, but he's number 5 for a reason. He's tough. He's durable. Huge test. He's not as durable as he was, but huge win for Johnny Walker. Compared to where he was last year when he got knocked out by Jamal Hill, then he lost to Thiago Santos before that. I mean, he's in a good spot right now. So Johnny Walker, obviously he wants to fight for the title. That's not going to happen for a little while unless he gets a couple more knockouts if Jamal Hill's still a champion, because Jamal Hill deaded him in the first round. So, but there's still a bunch of fights for him. Let's see. Alexander Rakic, whenever he comes back, if he comes back, still don't know what's happening with Ankalaev or Blachowicz. So, and then Nikita Krylov, maybe. Nikita Krylov coming off that great win against Ryan Spann. That could be cool. Because Johnny Walker knocked out Ryan Spann. That's right. Yeah. It's just a very weird division, man. He might have to take somebody below him, honestly, but that's not the most impressive performance, and especially if he wants to fight Jamal Hill again. Time needs to pass, and he also needs like some spectacular performances to show that fight was the old Johnny Walker. So, but I think Rakic might be good. He's got to be coming back soon, so I think that's perfect right there. Put him in there. But yeah, 205 is a circus. But Anthony Smith, man, I think he should either retire or take one more fight and retire. I think Paul Craig, on Believe You Me podcast, they were talking about fighting. He thought he was going to fight him. And, Paul Craig's not a big power puncher, so I think that'd be a fun fight. But Paul Craig's apparently dropping to 185, so I don't know. Well, yeah, man, 205 keeps on getting more interesting. And Johnny Walker's the player in that title picture. Make no mistake, man. Maybe Johnny Walker and Alex Pereira. Sign me up, bro. Main event evening, 265 pounds, men's heavyweight. Jailton. What's his nickname? Jailton Mole Hadinho Almeida taking on Jairzinho Biggie Boy Rosenstrike. Jailton was number 12. Jairzinho was number 9. It was pretty obvious what was happening with this fight. And this is how I pictured it in a perfect world happening, and it couldn't have played out any better. At the last second, I took over 1.5 because, it took, Jailton, it took him in the second round to finish. Not his last opponent, but his opponent before that. He's gone to the second round before. So, and Jairzinho is the highest ranked guy he's ever fought. So I thought maybe Jairzinho could make it out of the second round, but couldn't get it done, man. Jairzinho just did not want to wrestle at all. Did not want to defend anything. And Jailton did what everybody thought he was going to do, and it was just too easy, man. He should have been a minus 1,000 favorite. Let's run through it real quick. Not a very long fight. First round, Jailton goes for that blast double, and Jairzinho kind of defends the first one. But then he just gets right back in his face, and Jailton just shoots a blast double whenever Jairzinho is walking towards him, gets right in a half guard. Jairzinho kind of works his way towards the fence a little bit, but he doesn't try to wall walk or anything or shrimp or he doesn't really try to do much. He just doesn't want to get punched. And then he just takes his back and gets a rear naked choke submission. He had his back, and then Jairzinho put his back on the mat. But then Jailton started unloading some ground and pound, and then Jairzinho gave him his back again, and then Jailton got that arm around his throat. And I watched it a couple times. Jairzinho does not even try to grab his arm or anything, man. It's just very weird. He just kind of let him do it, I guess. I don't know, and gets a rear naked choke submission. So yeah, I was going between knockout and submission. It was a tough one for me to decide because he's gotten both of them. The knockout was plus 180, and I believe submission was like, it might have been mine. I don't know, maybe submission was like plus 200 or something like that. But I just couldn't pick one, so whatever. But hey, man, Jailton, he's the new guy at heavyweight because they don't know what John Jones or Stipe are doing. And so that's number, he took the number 9 spot. So he was number 12 for number 9, so that's a pretty decent jump for him. I would say he called out Tai Tuivasa, which perfect matchup for him. Tai Tuivasa does not wrestle, a big power puncher. Or he could fight Sergey Pavlovich, and that would be the new number 1 contender. There's just a lot of options for him. I just don't see the point in rushing right now, especially since we don't know when the title fight's going to happen. So if I were him, I would take Tai Tuivasa. I think that's perfect. Then I'll jump up to number 6, basically the top 5. Tom Aspinall is going to fight Marcin Tybura. Tybura is only number 10. And is Aspinall even really going to come back in July like he's supposed to? We don't know. So I would do Tai Tuivasa, then take it from there. Maybe him and Aspinall go at it. Or I don't know if they want to kill off contenders like that or not. But I feel like Sergey just deserves the next title shot, period. So we'll see. Maybe they'll do Sergey and Cyril. But yeah, heavyweight and 205 are very interesting divisions. We never know what's going to happen at any given moment. So a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Finally had a great week. Want to keep the train rolling. Next weekend, card's kind of weird, but I'm going to do my research like I did this weekend. Take what I've learned. Make smarter bets. Take one bet at a time. And stay away from the props, man, because unless like the line's insane, like the Carl Williams by decision plus 200 versus minus 300, okay, sure, but if I don't need to, I'm going to stay away from the props. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. Let me know how you guys did. If I can help, let me know. If you can help me, please help me.